And we'll be losing as she goes into momentarily. She'll be muting us. And
are we going? Can anyone check and see that?
Check and see off of.
I can check. Yep.
It's up.
Yeah.
Cool. So see if you can hit that slideshow, and then we'll give Carson the green light to start tickling the keys. We'll be. Let's see, if anybody's not on mute, you can hover at the bottom of your screen, Laura. We'll be muting everybody soon, but if you're in and you don't see yourself muted, you can hover over the bottom of your screen. You'll see the mute on the far left.
Yep.
Excellent.
Can one of the hosts mute me, please?
Okay.
Gotcha.
Until we get that done, until we get everybody muted, Brandy, you might want to just kind of pay particular attention to that if you don't have too many other things going on simultaneously, just the kind of muting. And we've got Charlie in now. Oh, looky there, there's my mom. Hi, Mom. Sorry if I keep shortcutting you, Brandy. I'm also hitting those admins at admit sometimes. Carson, maybe go ahead and start playing, and we'll just we'll just try to keep it focused on you, and that slideshow is going to come up momentarily. Hey, will you call Um, we'll have you roll for about 3 or 4 more minutes, Carson. Marty, can you? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Zocalo Zoom. And my name is Scott Bramer, and there I am. I'm so happy to be with you all today. We have another wonderful lineup for you with all kinds of exciting things woven into this tapestry of artistry and activism. And we are going to be taking a slightly different flavor as we approach our program today. We will go ahead and start off by just addressing a few items of postcarding business. With regards to postcarding, we know that we have a number of you who this is old hat to, and you're obviously ready to roll and free to postcard at will. And if you need any more names and addresses, you know the drill. Just whether you are here returning from a previous experience or here for your first time, you're able to put in your request in the chat, and the team working behind the scenes, we will be addressing those requests. If you're here for the first time, you're also going to find information posted in the chat. And speaking of the chat, if you're on a laptop or desktop, you are able to you're able to find your controls by hovering at the bottom of the screen, and you will see on the left-hand side, well, I'm sorry, kind of more towards the center, you'll see the chat. You can click on that and find the chat over to the right. And if you're on a laptop, if you're on mobile, just tap the screen and you'll be able to also access that chat. Because since we will have everybody muted to keep the musicians featured up front and our artists and our speakers, which in today's case will be one and the same, because we are really today focusing on musicians and their activism as Jaimee Harris comes to us with some thoughts and heartfelt perspective and belief on what is going on with respect to criminal justice and mental health. And also Alice Spencer and her partner Chris Searles will be bringing to us a presentation about biointegrity and some thoughts on one of the most effective ways to do something to combat this impending climate disaster. So with that being said, I am very happy to hand off to one of our founding envoys, charter member, who has been with us since the Envoys for Beto time, and has done so many great things in building programming and helped us with punk rock politics, and has worked with Women for Biden, and is currently well, I'm gonna let her roll into some of the current projects that she's working on. So without further ado, my friend and yours, Jess Dross. Jess, how's it going?
Hey, hi everyone. I'm so excited and honestly honored to be here co-hosting this special, well, it's special because we're all here together, co-hosting tonight with Scott for the Zocalo Zoom. And you know, it's really hard to kind of fully put into words what my experience with Envoys truly has been. And it's nothing short of a family, but it's this incredible community that I somehow stumbled upon a little over a year ago, and I saw their Facebook page, and so I saw their website and it said, well, sign up. And so I sure did. And what was really just right off the bat so amazing is the amount of detail that was given to training and mentorship from the beginning. And what is really cool about Envoys is that it's not necessarily like a hierarchical model, right? It's a horizontal type of community where any ideas are welcomed. And I remember coming in right away and it was like, well, what working group do you want to join? And do you want to join the writers group? And do you want to join the event planning group? And just, you know, I tend to be someone that gets a lot of really crazy ideas. And so I, you know, just kind of put stuff out there. And last summer I had one of those crazy ideas and I put it into one of the rooms. And then we had how many late night meetings, Scott, because I'm on the East Coast and Scott was on either West Coast or Mountain Time. And we would be planning some different events, first of all being Beto Fest. And the idea of the community that brings people together, that builds activism, that really turns ideas into action. And really through the idea of mentorship and community. So I also started a blog for the first time. And I remember it started as actually a response to a Facebook post that then I put my response in the writing group. And I got all sorts of feedback from the envoys in the writing group. And they said, Jess, you should turn this into something. And so then I just kind of continued to flesh things out. And here we are a year later. And I would have never imagined that I would have traveled as much as I did and, you know, been volunteering at the national headquarters for Joe Biden pretty much started right after Beto left the presidential race. And this whole crew has become my family. So that being said, it's really special to be able to be here tonight and kind of bringing all of these different elements together. So one of the things that I think is so amazing that Envoys does is it really brings us together to make change and feel like we're actually doing something tangible. Because sometimes, especially in the time of this pandemic, it can feel like we're screaming into the void a bit, right? So that even now we're all on these little Zoom things and it's an amazing way to connect, but how can we feel like we're doing something? Well, that something has been these postcards. And what we're doing is that we are reaching out to unregistered voters in Texas and reminding them that they can go to the website and fill things in to put them together. And so I want to just emphasize the importance right now of voter registration. So 2020 has been a crazy year, right? And so there's all sorts of chaos and craziness on top of the pandemic of ways that the vote is trying actively, they're not even hiding it, trying to be suppressed. And so the number one push right now, and I'll tell you, this is kind of coming from the top, right, is that campaigns want to focus on voter registration. So we really, really, really want to make sure that voter registration is our number one focus. So events like tonight, where we're writing postcards to unregistered voters, are of extreme importance. Also, other things that we want to think about is there's all sorts of different ways, and I can even throughout the night drop some other websites in the chat of ways that you can check your voter registration status, and then text your friends and say, hey, are you registered? Have you checked your status? Right? Because a lot of people we don't realize that sometimes they've been dumped off the voter records. So we want to make sure that we are doing that. So I'm excited for us to kind of get to work on that tonight. Now, before we get started and moving on to some of our other guests here, I want to take a moment to highlight some of the visual artistry that we have here on our Zocalo Zooms. So I want to see, is Sierra in the building?
Hi, yeah, I'm right here.
Yay. So I want to just kind of ask you for 1 second, if you don't mind if I put you on the spot for a second, can you say anything about what the role of art making has been for you during this time of COVID and pandemic? How have you used art making?
Well, probably the main reason is just deepening my skills since I really don't have much better to do or anything better to do. But also it's just a great way to get the word out there and do some outreach. It's a good way to make your postcards more special so that people are more willing to listen to them. Yeah, it's just a really fun outlet for activism, I feel like.
Yeah. And I, I have to say, if you don't mind me saying, I've been so impressed with kind of following along in your growth of just watching you paint on our postcard parties, but then and also hearing about you teaching yourself how to sew. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so can you say something about what's something that you've been making after you taught yourself how to sew?
I've been making tons of masks and donating them to the neighborhood and people around our city and stuff. So.
Yeah. And I just like, that's something where I have to say something about this whole, 2020, right? Like, I think that 2020 is going to become its own definition in the dictionary, right? So 2020, what has impressed me so much is how people have used creativity and ingenuity to find new ways to interact with each other. And so I really think that's awesome of, teaching yourself a new skill, but then turning it into activism. So Sierra's going to be painting a little bit tonight. Do you want to show us a little bit about what you are painting for us tonight?
Yeah, I'll just be making several postcards, some that I'm mailing out and some that I'm selling. Yeah, here's a fruit one. I did some kiwi, more of an abstract type of thing. I've been doing a San Francisco series.
Love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we will be excited to see your creations as they evolve throughout the evening. And I think, this idea of creative expression is really feeding our soul right now when we need it so much. And I really see how even with the making of masks and handing them out in your community, it's really cultivating connection. And so I think that's really wonderful to say. So thank you so much. And it's important to see how we can use our artistry to kind of create this empathic connection and use that as a communication and a call to action. And I will say, as a perspective of, I'm actually an art therapist and I'm a college professor. And so I can tell you that, the role of expression is so important. And so that's why I think it's wonderful for us to all come together. So with that being said, I want to turn over to someone that I think, Sierra, you might know a little bit well. So Sierra's brother Carson is our first musician to play tonight. So we'll take a couple of minutes for Carson to play. So we have about maybe 3 minutes or so to play, but just a really interesting little connection. So before the whole pandemic hit, Carson was actually set to come to school at the university where I teach at. And so I was excited that he was going to be in Philly and in the area here, but it's been amazing to watch him and hang out with him on these Zocalo Zooms. So Carson, would you play a little bit for us?
Yeah, totally. I'll be playing a few jazz standards for you people tonight. Hopefully you enjoy.
Wonderful, thank you.
Way to go, man. We are so psyched to have Gen Z so well represented here on the Envoy Zocalo Zoom Postcarding to Live Artistry. Thank you so much, Carson.
Glad to represent Gen Z.
Yes, yes, you are doing it in fine form. And one of the things about Envoys for Humanity that we're really trying to go big on, and that is creating a multi-generational culture and community here. And so we're so happy to have, these Gen Z kids. And that being said, we're going to move to the other side of the spectrum, and more in the I'm kind of the tail end of the baby boomer spectrum, and I believe our next guest is kind of right there with me in that respect. And her name is Jessie Scott, and she is a legendary DJ who went on to be one of the founders of the Americana music movement, had an XM radio program, and she's helping us with getting some of the best artists in the country, and going to be increasingly working with us in this particular Zocalo Zoom production, and other such endeavors that might be coming down the pipe that we're looking to get going. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to a real professional at talking about music, and not just a professional, but somebody who just loves it down to her very core. Jessie Scott, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Hi, everybody. I love that we get to see one another somehow, some way. And I'm so thankful that we have socials that we can keep in touch with each other. I think that's been one of the most difficult things, is we're all living inside our heads during quarantine, and being able actually to see faces is a really wonderful thing. I work at a radio station in Nashville, Tennessee, and we are doing a couple of interviews a week via Zoom. We used to do them in person with an audience. And so as we catch up with people from different areas of the country, I love to be able to share experiences and find out what's going on around them. I actually, since it's my first time on this call, I really defer to what you guys are doing. I love your activism. I think that from, the most simple, what one individual can do, door knocking or making phone calls or postcarding or driving somebody to the polls, that this is how we make a difference. It's something that we can do, and that we don't need somebody else to tell us that it's okay. We can just go ahead and be activists. And when you get a whole bunch of people in the room together, and you see everybody, it's really an awesome thing. Scott, so thank you for the opportunity to do this.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's such an honor to have you here and introducing these incredible musicians and moving us through this. So thank you, Jessie.
Thank you. Should we introduce?
Let's do that. Let's blast off with what we've got ready, queued up.
Well, I want to say hello to Alice Spencer and Chris Searles. Are you guys going to get in the same frame, or? Yep.
Oh,
wait,
we can.
I'm going to go over there and come back for a few
Okay.
songs.
Alice, great to see you.
It's good to see you too.
How are you doing?
Good. This is the first streaming thing I've actually really participated in. I've been, freaking out for not performing, and yet I hadn't done a live stream yet. And when this came up, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. I totally want to be a part of that. So,
well, we're happy you're here. And Chris, I want to talk to you about your activism, because it's really interesting. A biointegrity initiative, which has real world application. You want to talk about what you do?
I do. I missed the first part of what you said. I'm sorry. We had a computer glitch.
Oh, sorry. You are doing something very interesting for the climate. And I understand you have a slideshow for us.
Yeah, at 8 o'clock, I'm going to show a few slides. I'm going to give a quick overview of what biointegrity has been about and where it's going. And then to, I think, answer your question, it's a globally strategic approach to acting on climate change that anyone can get involved in. And I've been doing for over 5 years. And we've had enormous impact so far. And I'll explain some of that.
Bravo. Alice, would you play for us, please?
Yes, we have to keep muting and unmuting our different computers. It gets a little confusing. I thought I'd start with a song that I wrote. I thought it was appropriate. I wrote it when Trump was elected. And at the time, my kids were, gosh, I think they were 9 and 6. And, you know, of course, they kept hearing me talk about, you know, if he gets elected, we're moving to Canada, we're out of here, what, you know, everything will be over. And so when he was elected, they just, you know, they were confused. Is this really what's happening? Are we really going to move to Canada? And so I wrote this song, and it was basically, I would have called it, you know, Lullaby to an Anxious Child on the election of Trump to office, but that felt a little long-winded. So I called it Like Gandhi Said, because I'd heard a quote of Gandhi's that seemed perfect, but I've long since forgotten what that quote was. So anyway, it's called Like Gandhi Said. You'd better believe we've got a lot to fear, oh boy. We gotta batten down those hatches and hold on. While we are shaking just like leaves, let's jump for joy. For from the fear there'll come a strength we've never known. It's alright, it's alright. It's alright, it's alright. Resistance whispers, then begins to shout. As voices join together to sing out. It's alright, it's alright. It's alright, it's alright. It's alright, it's alright. It's alright, it's alright. Okay. So strange. Can you hear? Oh, ah.
That was great.
It's like a silent movie. I love it. Can you hear everything okay? Is there, all right. Okay.
Sound
good.
great.
I can't hear what Jess is saying, but yes. Okay. All right.
Playing if you like.
This is a song I wrote after going to Alabama for the first time and thinking about what it would be like to be a girl in Alabama. That's all I'll say about that. The world is humming along with the rhythm of the leaves crunching under her feet. And up above her head in the canopy, the symphony is complete. But she's a statue in the road, somewhere about a mile away. A dog is having his day. She turns her back on the cane and cacophony and makes for the bend in the path. The reason she's never been beyond it before eludes her like high math. Her computations fall apart each time that she dares to dream. She just dissolves at the seams. Mama will be waiting at the window as sundown throws rainbows all around the room. Butterflies like tiny kites go listing through the air, intoxicated by the afternoon. She's navigating irregular gravel now and wishing for different shoes on her feet. But the air is promising winter with a tickle and a bite at her cheek. And she's emboldened by the cold. She picks up on a melody shaking out in the trees. Mama will be waiting at the window as sundown throws rainbows all around the room. Butterflies like tiny kites go listing through the air, intoxicated by the afternoon. The world is humming along with the rhythm of the leaves crunching under her feet. Ooh, look at that. That is so cool. I love the postcard cam. That's amazing. That bottom suitcase is smiling.
I think that's Sierra.
I know, it's amazing. Okie doke. Let's see. This is a tune called Guardian for your postcarding listening enjoyment. I'm waiting on my guardian to take me home. I've made mistakes. I'm on my face. I'm lonely too. My heart and soul are splayed out like I'm ready for the feast. anyone can come along and take a piece. So carry on, my guardian, and take me home. Don't make me wait any longer. I'm ready to fly. Are you my jailer or my priest? Either way, a cage can be a refuge or comfort at least. So carry on, my guardian, and take me home. Don't make me wait any longer. I'm ready to fly. Oh man, who is the sweet little girl dancing? I looked up, I opened my eyes for half a second, and I see you. Hi. That just made my whole day. I almost started crying. You're a beautiful dancer. Yeah, that's so cool. That's so nice. That made it feel just like a real live gig. Because that's what always happens when I play live. People are like dancing and going crazy. Ukulele doesn't usually make people boogie like that. I'm so excited. Okay. The thing you didn't say is perched in your mouth. You should have set it free to fly before it all went south. But what good is regret? It can't keep you company. You're better off believing in some magic you can't see. What's the point in chasing yesterday when tomorrow's just a breath away? She's still boogieing. I can see that you've been hurt. It's hidden in your smile. You got the look of someone who's been lost for quite a while. But dwelling in the past, it won't get you anywhere. Like trying to punch a hole in the sky by throwing your fist in the air. What's the point in chasing yesterday when tomorrow's just a breath away? Boom, 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 boom. Sometimes there's a bass solo. Boom, 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 boom. But I always whistle. tune this sucker up. Well, this is so much fun. I have to admit, I was a little terrified about the whole concept of the streaming thing because I thought it would feel weird, like there aren't people in the room that I can hear breathing and sighing and ordering drinks or all the things that I'm used to hearing. But it's really great. I get to see this sweet kid dancing and all your smiling faces. And I so appreciate everything you guys are doing. It's so important. You guys are doing really important work. And thank you for doing it. And my husband, Chris, who you met earlier, is going to talk to you guys later about his exciting project. But for now, he is going to play a snare drum and our coffee table. I do know what to do. I do know how to behave in any given number of strange situations. I came out of the wild. I stand before you naked, Mother Nature's child as I was created. I'm begging for a second chance for the billionth time. Fumbling for the key that'll unlock your mind. I know, there's so much to fear, but your demons and mine can go dance the karaoke, never to return. We're doing fine. I don't know why I do just the thing to annoy you, when all I'm ever thinking's how much I adore you. Maybe my heart's a black hole, a juicy supernova. We'll just give in to gravity, please, I implore you. I'm begging for a second chance for the billionth time. Fumbling for the key that'll unlock your mind. I know, there's so much to fear, but your demons and mine can go dance the karaoke, never to return. We're doing fine. Here I am, won't you take me as I am? A little weary and bruised and broken, but hoping you can be my man. I do know what to do. I do know how to behave. Speed metal. That was fast. I was excited. Yay! Thank you. So cool. Okay, my man.
I started?
No, I think I started. Sunlight on my eyelashes, tears shine like diamonds, and I'm walking on down the road with a tune in my head. He calls me baby and I melt like butter in a frying pan, 'cause that's my man. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Swallowing words I wanna say feels like broken glass. Don't raise your hand to me. Don't want blood on my dress. He calls me baby and I melt like butter in a frying pan, 'cause that's my man. Yeah, that's my man. Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. This is so much fun. I really didn't know that I was going to have fun. I thought I'd be freaking out, you know, looking at a bunch of little tiny. This is so cool. The only way it could be better is if I could hear you guys, but I can't because if I do, it sounds like we're in outer space or like broadcasting from the space station. We did that for my 50th birthday. And it was the strangest thing. It was like relatives, you know, all over the place. It was so wonderful, but everyone would talk at once. And happy birthday was like the most atonal, confusing thing. I'll never forget that birthday. And then at the very end, my dad turned on his camera finally, and he was basically naked. So that was a thrilling end to my, well, he was wearing underwear, but you know, from the waist up, you couldn't tell. And I think it scared some people. But anyway, he might be on this call, and hopefully he's clothed if he turns his camera on at some point. All right, I can't promise anything. Okay, let's see. Come on. This song sort of has a nautical theme, which is funny because I know very little about boats. But there were a flurry of songs all of a sudden that I was writing that had this sort of nautical thing going on, and this is one of them. About like that? Yeah. A one, a two, you know what to do. Down Periscope, we'll have to navigate blind. The captain's in his cups. Come on, put your faith in mine. It isn't always smooth sailing at sea, but here under the weather, we're safe down in the depths, you and me. To keep it together, we've only got to commit to it. Down Periscope, we'll have to navigate blind. The captain's in his cups. Come on, put your faith in mine. We may never know joy if we keep our feet firm on the ground. We might sink, but we might sail away, paradise bound, right in the tide, side by side. Down Periscope, we'll have to navigate blind. The captain's in his cups. Come on, put your faith in the stars that shine high above. Will lead the way so we can stay in Come on, come on. Oh, come on, come on. Oh, come on, come on. Oh, come on, oh, come on. I just realized I made the brrr on camera. Must have been attractive. Ow. Yay. Okay. Oh, Ouroboros.
Like that one.
Oh, yes. That little girl is so cute. I have little girls too, but they're hiding. They have no, they're actually taking care of all of our animals. They're all back in one. We've collected quite a an array of animals over quarantine. Maybe some of the rest of you have done the same thing, but suddenly we went from having no pets to having 2 kittens and a dog, and we're about to get a bearded dragon, because why not? And then a friend of mine was like, hey man, I've got a hermit crab I don't want. You want it? I'm like, sure, bring it on. As long as they eat vegetables, I'm fine with it. I'm not feeding crickets or rats or anything like that. Okay, I guess we still have time, right? Yay. This is a tune. Do we have 10 minutes?
Should we just move on without me?
Well, sure. Let's do
We could do millisecond.
Let's do millisecond, and then you can leave.
Okay.
You can go get ready for his presentation. All right, millisecond. That's basically in tune for ukulele. In the millisecond it takes my eyes to blink, I love you, then I hate you, and then I can't live without you. So put the morning on, and we can roll all around inside each other's minds all day. Hey, hey. Self-destructive thoughts swim in my drink while I wait for you. I'm a fool for you. Oh, I should forget you, but you know, I just roll all around inside my mind thinking thoughts of you all day. Hey, hey. Never loved a man I couldn't bear to lose, but you came to me and unraveled me, and I can't live without you. So put the morning on, and we can roll all around inside each other's minds all day. Hey, hey. Okay, all right. Hey now. Thank you. Will you hear them if they tell them? I can't hear anything. If they tell me like, so am I gonna get out a hook and is that 2 more? 2 more. I don't know if you were saying peace. I was like, man, peace to you too, baby. And I love your hair. It looks fantastic. Tell me later how you did it. Okay, let's see. 2 more. What will I do? Sure, I'm gonna do this one just for the clapping, dancing, beautiful child I can see there. The last 2 songs I'm gonna do actually were songs both inspired by my kids, who I've gotten to know so much better during quarantine. And I think it's been the best gift of the whole thing. And I hope you all have been experiencing some of that kind of stuff too. You know, like the stuff you normally take for granted. It's been really great. And before I do my last 2, I just want to say again, thank you all so much for what you're doing. And, you know, power to the people. And you guys are making it happen. So thank you. And it's a huge honor to be a part of this. This next song is a song basically me manifesting this fantasy life I had going, where I sort of, in my mind, was with my children and some imaginary man at the time. It's before I met Chris. But I pictured this wonderful life, and there were all these, wild animals that were my pets. And now as I'm talking, I'm like, I guess I manifested it. I just ended up with a Yorkshire Terrier and Manx kittens. But anyway, in this version, I think I'm in Africa. So it's called Hippo. My hippopotamus's bottom is almost as tall as it is wide. My children love to play in waves she makes by the riverside. It's just another day in paradise. And I walk along with my pet crocodiles. Back at the palace, my baby's making salads in a kitchen with a view. Garden roses grow through the window to tell him the news. It's just another day in paradise. And I walk along with my pet crocodiles. We pack up a pachyderm and take a ride to town to see what we can see. The birds that fly beside us herald our arrival with their melodies. It's just another day in paradise. And I walk along with my pet crocodiles. The marketplace is buzzing and bugging, boo, have the run of it barefoot and free. Lions lying in wait underestimate me. Lions lying in wait underestimate me. Lions lying in wait underestimate me. It's the fade, just like on an album. Fade out. All right. And I guess you said I could do one more, so I'll finish one more real quick. This is a tune called Kid that was written for my kids. Thanks again, you guys. You guys are awesome. You are warriors. All right. I got to be, I got to go, I got to get around. You know I got so many got tos, it gets me down. I want so much to be someone you can look up to. I'm what you got, I hope I'm not a disappointment to you. You are my girl, you are my heart, you are my everything. You got my number and you know how to pull my string. And all you want is my time, is that so much to give? You know my worried mind forgets that it can think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da. You are Matisse, you are Picasso, you're the coolest of cool. You're the kid I would have followed around in school. You are the apple of my eye, my Sistine Chapel. You're like Coltrane, just hard to grasp. I have to sit back and watch you grow and let you know I love you. As far as I'm concerned, there's no one else above you. You made me feel like Lady Luck is my companion. You taught me how to love with what they call reckless abandon. Your fireworks, you're an elixir. You're the medicine man. You light up any room you're in better than Edison can. You top the list of all the coolest stuff I ever did. And best of all, my Super Bowl, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Your fireworks, you're an elixir. You're the medicine man. You light up any room you're in better than Edison can. You top the list of all the coolest stuff I ever did. And best of all, my Super Bowl, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da, you make me think like a kid. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Thanks, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yay.
Yay.
Microphone.
Thank you for bringing the joy.
Oh, maybe you should leave it.
Very nice. Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Alice Spencer. And now to Chris Searles. Thank you for what you do. It's really an interesting thing. And, you know, certainly climate change is such a hot button issue. And I don't know that it gets better without people like you. You want to
Wow.
talk about your initiative?
Yes, absolutely. Also, Alice is a big fan of yours, Jesse.
And
So,
likewise.
And we're both big
Hair.
fans of Scott. And also, thanks to everybody that does this. I mean, what can I say? Getting involved and taking action it seems to be the hardest part of change. And here you guys are leading the charge. And I like the, Beto's cavalry.
Yeah.
You guys are the cavalry of positive change and inclusive, an inclusive future. So I'm going to try and share my screen. Where'd the thing go? Uh-oh.
Who knew?
The option went away. I like to start my presentations with as much silence as possible.
Yes.
What's going
You
on
should
here?
have the icons at the bottom if you scroll down.
Oh, duh. Okay. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So I'm going to tell you really quickly sort of the story of this project. Can you see that? Can you see my screen?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Thank you. This project, Biointegrity, that began about 5.5 years ago as a research project. And I started with the question, boy, this is not working. There we go. What's the most I can do to affect positive change on climate and also the biodiversity extinction crisis? And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But one nutshell of what that all means is, or what I discovered through my research, is that protecting ecosystems, protecting other life forms, protecting the vibrant life that's on the planet, especially if you do it in a globally strategic way, has the most positive impact of all the many things we have to do. But I was looking for the single most impactful solution. And so this is just, obviously a tree. Half of every tree on Earth is made of carbon. And when trees are burned, they release carbon and it bonds with oxygen, and they're actually heavier in the atmosphere than they were on land, because CO2 is heavier than just carbon and the other elements in the tree. So keep this graphic in mind. This is the part of the way out of the troubles that we're in right now is recognizing the climate value of these other living things on our planet. Okay, so about biointegrity. As I mentioned, I started with this question: what's the most impactful thing I can do? The biggest solution, whether I have $1, $1 million, $1 billion. And I had been working as an environmentalist full-time for 10 years when I asked this question of myself. And I didn't know, is it advocating against coal plants? Is it green jobs? Is it recycling? What's the thing? And I didn't have a background in what's called conservation, protecting ecosystems and species. I had a background in political advocacy at the local level for the environment and in green education and green lifestyle. And so I dove into a bunch of research and I wrote this paper called The Systemic Climate Solution, which I'm going to give you the summary slide from that. If you want to check any of that research, you can go to tinyurl.com/systemic-cs. There's also a Facebook group that's starting to grow around 1,300, 1,400 members now, called The Systemic Climate Solution. But what you see in these three pictures that are on the slide is the map of Earth. And on the right, you see the green it says tropical forest. This is the system that I'm talking about here, the forests around the equator. They have the greatest value of all the ecosystems on the planet in a biological sense, in a biogenic way. And then on the left, you see this idea of net primary productivity. That means carbon absorption. That means they pull greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere, mostly carbon dioxide, which is about 75% of the total greenhouse gas emissions on Earth. And by pulling carbon dioxide out, they grow and they produce more life support services for us. And they store that carbon for decades to centuries to even thousands of years per tree, depending on how healthy the forest system is. We're in a crisis now relative to the climate, relative to tropical forests, relative obviously to divisiveness and politics and all these things. So I'm hoping that this presentation will give you a little bit of a sense of how we can think globally and act globally as we also engage at the national level, the personal level, the local level. We have to integrate, all of our best efforts. The slides are not working. Okay, so here's the summary slide. At the top about tropical forests, why they're so important, why biointegrity has focused on tropical forests for about 5 years. At the top you see tropical deforestation. It's pulling out an acre of tropical forest every second. That rate of deforestation and fragmentation has been constant since about the 1970s. We have academic record on it since the 80s. And what that means is that the tropical forest system, which is the longest standing living system on the planet, it made it through the dinosaur extinction crisis 66 million years ago, and the Earth re-speciated through the tropical forests. That system is now covering less than 5% of the planet because of this radical expansion of the human economy in the last 50 years. The tropical forest system has really been under attack. And we don't have time to go into that, but this is just one of the reasons it's urgent to act to protect tropical forests. And what I'll show you after this slide, I think, is how easy it is to help on this solution. But let me run down some of these bullet points really quickly. First and foremost, as I mentioned, I wanted to take action on the biodiversity extinction crisis. So tropical forests have 50% or more, half or more of all the biodiversity on the planet, oceans included. So that meant, obviously, we have to protect tropical forests if we're trying to save biodiversity and the functionality of our planet from a biospheric perspective. They absorb, today they absorb about 18% of greenhouse gas emissions. If we were to stop deforesting them on an annual basis, stop cutting them down, we could reduce greenhouse emissions at global scale by about 25% a year. And if we were to reforest them to the scale that they were 50 years ago, they would absorb up to around 50% of global greenhouse gas emissions. The US puts out about 20% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So this solution is truly a global solution. In addition to that, tropical forests produce the greatest concentration of life support services. So you see there, about 25% of the global oxygen supply comes out of these forest systems. About 25% of global freshwater is filtered through these systems. We get an enormous amount of food. The food system for Asia, South America, Africa, and Oceania, the South Asian islands, is based in the tropical forest system. Most importantly, I think of all, the thing that we have yet to really recognize and get active on is the importance of this system in terms of its effect on our weather. So they impact the way water circulates in the atmosphere for the entire planet. They affect weather systems for the entire planet. Then you see the right bullet points there. Again, it's the biggest carbon dioxide sink that we can access on land, meaning these trees are like carbon banks. They suck in carbon out of the atmosphere. They do it faster than any other organism other than seaweed. But seaweed is cyclical, whereas tropical forests can stand for millions of years if they're healthy. Because of this water circulation I mentioned, atmospheric moisture circulation, and the canopy of the forest system, they absorb heat. They cool down the entire planet. They're literally called the air conditioner of the planet. And that impact reduces spin up of hurricanes and other extreme weather systems around the world. There's many other aspects. One other big one is this idea of medicines, that they're secure for probably everything that ails humanity in the forest, and we have yet to find a way to bridge the developed economy with the indigenous people's knowledge there. And there's just so much to say about all this, but I want to move on. So I've already taken most of my time, but I want to try and show you, if the computer will work right. This is from the biointegrity.net website, and you see Alice there. This is our milestones page. I'll jump over to the report, which I'm not going to have time to go through, but this report came out in December after 5 years of protecting tropical forests. We had done around 266,000 acres protected. And if you scroll through this report, this is all the areas we've helped, all the various projects. What we've been doing is helping other nonprofits. We're not doing the work. We're not doing the conservation or the land protection. We're helping people find the organizations that are doing the best work, the nonprofits that are doing the most community-based work to protect the cultures, to empower them to take control over their destiny as traditional stewards, which they've always been. And so this means we're working on helping communities in Central and South America, and again in Africa, in Madagascar, mainland Asia, Southeast Asia, and so forth. You can see tropical forests again there. And so I'll just point out a couple of things. We had protected over 53 million trees by doing this at about the cost of about $1 an acre to the donors. We're helping people connect to the most impactful, least expensive projects. The value of 53 million trees in terms of the amount of carbon in that carbon bank is equivalent to about 25 average sized US coal plants emissions for 1 year, or one coal plant's average emissions for 25 years. We're keeping all that out of the atmosphere by protecting this place. And since I have talked too long, I didn't get to run my presentation, by the way, because my computer crashed. There are a number of other metrics here. This is showing that the amount of carbon these forests suck in per year is equivalent to over 1.5 billion vehicle miles taken off the road, about 2 million people's oxygen supply, 4.8 billion gallons of water, over 400 indigenous communities, 20 critically endangered species, 92 endangered species, and so forth that we have helped in this community-based way. And let me wrap up by saying, to get involved in that, the project we're promoting right now at biointegrity.net/solutions, it's $2 an acre to help a group called Rainforest Trust, if you want to get involved with that. Rainforest Trust is one of the best nonprofits in the world for protecting ecosystems. And where biointegrity is going is on this value of the biosphere, the whole system. We're moving beyond just tropical forests to talk about the whole planet. The planet's ecosystems are our life support systems. Mars isn't going to work. You know, in case anyone hasn't caught on yet, there's no life on Mars. It took somewhere in the range of 4 billion years to get to this point on Earth. About the first 3 billion years of life on Earth was microbial. We don't have any microbes on Mars. So, and as far as we can tell, there's no life anywhere else in the universe so far. Sorry to break that to you if you didn't know that, but the only life support system, the only planetary biosphere is the one we live on. And this was something I was going to show you about how these ecosystems and living organisms create the basis of our existence. This is showing you that this caramel colored area above the brown, this is all old life. And that old life continuously cycles moisture, holds moisture, makes it possible for new life. We can do just about anything in terms of fixing the future of life on Earth if we get serious about what I call the laws of continuation, that ecosystems need to be intact, that they need to be wild, that they need to be established and then left alone. And this is, really quickly, this is 3 song titles to explain how moisture cycles. The circle is not unbroken because from the soil to the top of the canopy, ecosystems cycle moisture and then they send it back up into the clouds in a constant way, especially in the Austin, you know, in the Central Texas and really the Southwest, the better for getting through drought. That comes from having big, deep soils and lots of vegetation. The way forward here is to throw more life, to make humanity bring more life to the planet than we've ever endeavored to do before. And it's relatively, again, it's relatively easy to do this. Nature naturally has an exponential growth factor. And this is sort of the vision of what we want to do, is take what has become a relatively deforested and devegetated Earth in terms of its ecosystems and rebuild that in this new context of climate change and warming. We have to buffer things to make them better. So biointegrity.net, I'm sorry I ran over time, but I wanted to share a bunch of those ideas with you guys really fast. And thank you again for what you're doing.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Alice. Great to see you both. And thank you for sharing both of your arts and science with us. So appreciate it. Jaimee Harris is with us as we segue into art, working with activism, in the same actual presentation. I don't know if we can get Jaimee on screen, but again, thank you, Chris, and thank you, Alice, for participating tonight.
Thank
It's
you.
really interesting. And yes, you know, for just a couple of dollars donation, we can make a difference. You want to give the website one more time?
Yes, thank you. It's biointegrity.net
Cool.
and /solutions.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool. So Jaimee, are you with us?
I'm here. I'm ready to roll. Chris, that was
Awesome.
cool.
Crosstown in Nashville.
Yeah, good to see you, Jesse. I think I was it was just dropping into my brain as I was seeing both you and Alice on the screen that I think the last place I saw both of you was the City Winery here in Nashville when we were
Wow.
still able to go out and see live music and party. And
Well, that was the last time I saw you too, was the night before everything closed down is what it feels like. It was a tornado benefit. And it seems like the next day we were scattered to the wind. So, it's been amazing seeing people on camera. And I can't wait till we get back together and we can actually see one another again. But in the meantime, you have embodied activism in your art. And I just so applaud that.
well, thank you. Thank you.
You
Yeah.
make a difference with your music and what you say in between the music. Would you please grace us?
Thank you so much, Jesse. And once again, Alice, that was so great. And it was so great to hear you. And thanks to Scott and Jesse for bringing us all together. This is really cool. And I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know what you guys were up to until I got the invite from Scott. And I was really bummed out. I mean, the pandemic has, I know Alice and I both have spent a lot of time on the road over the past couple of years, and Alice longer than I have, but some artists we tour very heavily, and so this has been a complete change in our lives. So there have been some positives, of course, to being at home and slowing down, but something happened in me the night after John Lewis died, and I just became so disturbed and so I just had this intense longing to do something, and it felt like, of course, us staying at home is one of the most positive things we can do, but I wanted an opportunity to do something, and I think, not long after that I got this email. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys today, and to be pulling out my scented gel pens for these postcards. I'm having a blast. This is an awesome party, so thank you. My whole deal, and we'll get into this quite a bit with what I do, is I've been in recovery for a little over 6 years. I have been in the criminal justice system, and my experience with that has inspired me to rail against it with everything I have in my heart and my soul and with my music. But I'd like to start out with an upbeat song about depression. It goes like this. Hope you guys like it. In a depressive state, how long will I feel this way? Is it forever? In my mind, prisoner, will I be okay? Will I ever be okay? And not someone that everyone hates. Will I ever be okay? I'm locking all the doors to my house. Lights off, no need to ever come around. You can take my number off your fridge. Never need it, never need it. Not even to be saved for a rainy day. Oh, if I were you, I'd forget I ever knew my name. And now you wanna call and say you're sorry, but you're not sure what for. Hey, save your apologies, I can't take it anymore. are incredible. Wow, thank you. I wish I had asked you to dance in the music video. I'm so bummed. What is your name again? I think you told us, but you can put it in the chat. I don't know if you have the power to unmute yourself, but I'm sure so glad that you're here. It is so fun to watch you be a part of this and to see your joy. I'm not a dancer. What was that?
My name's Holland.
I think we've got some technical stuff going on there, but it's nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here. You're able to introduce yourself. I think we got some weird technical stuff going on, but nice to meet you. Thank you so much for dancing for us. So you might have gathered from that last song, I'm someone that battles depression, and of course, in addition to a health crisis in this country, we have a serious mental health crisis in this country, and benefits for mental health are so often not extended to people in this country. And I know in Austin, you guys are probably aware if you go see a lot of music, but there's a wonderful organization in Austin called the Sims Foundation. And the Sims Foundation helps musicians, actually not just musicians, but music professionals gain access to affordable mental health care and substance use recovery services. So you don't have to be a musician, you can be a roadie, a sound person, and I'm really passionate about that because as someone who is in recovery, a lot of the underlying conditions of addiction have to do with trauma, depression, anxiety, some sort of something going on there, and the Sims Foundation helped me to receive mental health care, and I'm so grateful for that. And so yeah, I'll play you guys a song that I wrote when I got out of jail. It goes like this. Well, I never thought I'd find God here, full of nicotine and caffeine, shaking with fear, just praying for another day to stay in the clear. Well, I never thought I'd find God here. I never thought I'd draw sober breath. Always figured I'd have nothing left. Well, I never thought I'd draw sober breath. But I gave up the cocaine, gave up the gin, freed myself of the hell I was in. Asked the Lord to keep me clean again. And Spirit came, picked me up, on the cheek and wish me luck, told me I could call him a good friend, my good friend. Well, I never thought that I'd move on, oh, but I'm getting used to sleeping alone. Just one flashlight in the book of John. Well, I never thought that I'd move on, but I gave up the heartbreak, gave up the man, freed myself of the hell I was in, asked the Lord to let me love again. And the Spirit came, picked me up, kissed me on the cheek and wished me luck, told me I cheek and wished me luck. Told me I could call him a good friend, my good friend. All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thanks for what you're doing. This is really, really cool. I'm really glad to be involved now and to be on the little Facebook. I didn't even know Facebook had that secret spot. That's fun. I'm glad to be updated on what y'all are doing and to be involved, and really, really excited. So yeah, I'd like to tell you just, I guess, a little bit about my story and why I'm so passionate about criminal justice reform. And I'm sure you guys are hip, so I'm sure this probably isn't new information to a lot of you, but I'd just like to share anyways. And basically, my situation was that I ended up in jail a second time for DWI. And by the second time I ended up in jail, I knew that no one was coming for me and that I was on my own. And actually, at that time, being locked away in jail for a year seemed like the best option for me because I didn't know how I was going to stay sober outside of being in jail. And I didn't know how I was going to afford everything like probation or all the things that is required of you in the criminal justice system. And so I thought I was just going to be there for a year, but a bandmate of mine figured out where I was and bailed me out. And I was pretty terrified. I didn't know exactly how I was going to keep going, but I got a text message that night from a songwriter I just met by the name of Betty Sue. And she asked me if I could. I love the big smile, Paula, for Betty Sue. That's how I feel when I think about Betty Sue, too. She's just a wonderful, wonderful person. And completely unrelated, I'd met Betty the night that I got arrested. And when I got out of jail, I got a message from her asking if I would open a gig for her a few months down the road. And I thought maybe I could stay sober long enough to do that. It was a big motivation for me. And so that's kind of what got me on the path. I didn't want to let Betty down. And so that was probably the fourth or fifth time I tried to get sober. And this Travis County wanted to send me to outpatient rehab, which I thought was fair due to the level of what was going on with me. And so shockingly at the time I had insurance. And I went to get an assessment at a center, at a rehab center. And they told me that at 60 days sober, my insurance said I was too sober for them to cover the cost of my rehab. And so at 75 days sober, I went back to Travis County and I asked them, okay, what am I going to do because I can't afford the cost of going to this outpatient rehab? And the counselor there said, well, you know, Jaimee, my suggestion to you would be to start drinking again to reset your sobriety date so that your insurance will cover your rehab. And oddly, because due to another arrest that I'd had for alcohol issues, I was in a class with a woman who wrote me a letter. And that's how I was able to not follow the advice of Travis County and remain in sobriety. But I think that advice, had I taken it, likely would have killed me. And I think the common understanding is that you do what the criminal justice system tells you to do. You obey and then you get out. And I feel lucky that it only took me 4.5 years to get out of the criminal justice system. Obviously, being white, you know, that was a pro in the criminal justice system because it is so designed to disaffectionately keep down people of color in this country. It's designed that way, and to keep down people who are impoverished. And I at the time had a job where I only had to go into the office 3 days a week, and so I was able to meet all the requirements of probation and community service, all the things that are required, because the other thing about the criminal justice system is everything that you are required to do happens between the hours of 9 to 5. So it's very hard to hold down a job. So you can see how easily someone would choose to go to jail or be forced to go to jail pretty much just through poverty. And so I personally believe that we should have alternatives to a punitive criminal justice system, and that we should have situations that give an alternative to addicts to prison. I don't think we should lock away addicts. I don't think incarceration should be our response to addiction. And so there are some organizations in the country that are working towards that. Oklahoma incarcerates more women per capita than any state in the country. And there is a program in Tulsa called Women in Recovery that offers an alternative to women by giving them educational resources and lodging. They even get an app on their phone after they reach a certain level in the program, and they're able to reach out for a ride to a 12-step recovery meeting if they're in an area of Tulsa that is dangerous or known for high drug sales. And so these women have support lifelong. Here in Nashville, there's literally a sober judge who started a drug court program that is an alternative to prison for people who are struggling with addiction issues. And so my goal is for us to continue to elect progressive politicians. And, we're the only nation in the world that still elects prosecutors. And the fate of a human being in a prosecutor's hands, obviously we're hearing a lot about people that are being exonerated because of DNA evidence and all sorts of things. So a prosecutor plays a massive role in the system, and it's important to be informed about these prosecutors that we're electing, the judges that we're electing. Also, the way that the budgets are run in most states and most counties, the same budget that pays a judge is the same budget that pays for things like rape kits to be processed. So that's why if we don't vote up the budget for that, right, or at least untangle those two things, that's another reason why we have a massive backlog of these rape kits that need to be tested. And less than 1% of perpetrators of violent crime are arrested and or even convicted, brought to trial at all. So I hope that we can kind of move that stuff around and work towards a restorative justice in this country. The only reason I'm here is 'cause to us all he made it clear he'd like for me to sit here at your table. For other guests you poured the wine, got to me in your sweet time when you finally found me fit and able. If he were here, he'd pour my drink, set it down before he'd even think to take a sip to cure his own thirst. Well, to sit here with your smiles fake or stand outside with swallowed hate, well, I have not decided which is worse. Are you free, or are you hiding from the things you don't agree with or believe in? Skim the text and find the lines that feed your purpose. It's so easy to love your brother on the surface. Well, I know how quickly things can change. They'll turn their backs, curse your name for situations seeming predetermined. And if your footing can't be found, they'll shout at you to turn around, meaning well, but clearly lacking understanding. Well, it's true, it wasn't long ago I traveled down a crooked road that ended in explosions, consequences. Well, I fought the battle with the sword, but won the battle with the Lord, a power that believes in second chances. the text and find the lines that feed your purpose. It's so easy to love your brother on the surface. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. The only reason we are here is 'cause the Spirit made it clear that love is not reserved just for our own kind. Well, it travels over many shores, through rivers, canyons, prison doors, and I believe it travels all the time. Right, thank you so much. Wow, Sierra, those are incredible. Absolutely incredible. The San Francisco series is cool, man. I dig San Francisco. I went out there because I'm a fan of this songwriter, folk singer I love named Peter Case. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his music, but he hitchhiked from Buffalo to San Francisco when he was 15 years old and stayed there ever since. He was in the Nerves and the Plimsolls, and then he's had a solo career since the 80s. And he's been out there ever since, and he's an awesome guy. And his music he sings a lot about mental health and the homeless population. He used to sing with the homeless every week in San Francisco, and so he's got a lot of good stuff he's got going on out there. And I traveled to San Francisco because I wanted to know about all the places Peter was singing about. So I'll play this song for you now. This is one of my dad's favorites, and I wanted to bring up my dad in this conversation because my dad is an attorney in Waco. And although he's a civil attorney, he has this YouTube video that went viral that I think is hilarious. It's called Don't Eat Your Weed. And he sings with his law partner about minimum mandatory drug sentencing laws and about how, I guess if you're caught with less than an ounce of marijuana in Texas, it's a misdemeanor, but if you try to eat it or throw it out the window, that's tampering with evidence and it becomes a felony. And so he wrote this hilarious song that he sings in his suit with his law partner in a very Brooks and Dunn style. And that's my dad. And I'm pretty against mandatory minimums, and a lot of families are against mandatory minimums for lots of reasons. One, if you know how, like, if you're caught with pot brownies, even if there's a tiny amount of pot in it, they have to weigh the whole brownie. So if you've got 2 pounds of brownies, whoever is going to jail for that amount is going for the amount of 2 pounds. And then there's a minimum mandatory sentence that's connected to that. So one of the organizations that I really love is called Families Against Mandatory Minimums. You can check them out. They're really easy to find if you're into that sort of thing. And you can figure out what's going on federally or in your area and what they're doing to change the laws around that. So. Many a day I spent hiding underneath my sheets, praying the light could find me still. Just a glimpse of the world that was outside my bed. Well, what seemed to work so well. But me, I never fit, and I didn't try. No, I just quit, and I taught myself to fake a smile. Your true joy came when I looked through my window pane. So it ain't been raining for a while, so I ain't waiting for it. Gonna go catch it now. I've been waiting for so long, for someone to show me, hey, I'm gonna go catch it now. Awesome pillow. Many a year I spent turning my back on what I know in my heart to be right. Maybe it was lust, maybe it was fear, maybe it was something worse, my dear. Maybe I was just too tired to fight. Though it might seem frightening, if I fall in love, I won't tread lightly, no, not anymore. I'm gonna jump right in. And I may not live a righteous way, but I try to never hide my soul away from anyone ever again. So I ain't waiting for it, gonna go catch it now. I've been waiting for so long, for someone to show me, hey, well, I'm gonna go catch it now. All I saw was all of me scattered around in piles of ashes on my old streets. I saw who I was, where I've been, who I am, who I'm wanting to be. So I ain't waiting for it, gonna go catch it now. I've been waiting for so long, for someone to show me, hey, well, I'm gonna go catch it now. Ooh. Thank you guys so much. Wow, the sequin reveal of RBG is fantastic. And the Willie shirt, this is truly one of the best parties I've ever been to. I'm even okay with just the silence and looking down, writing postcards. It's all fun. It's all up to my level of social anxiety. This is great for me. I love it. Thank you guys for including me. Play a couple more for you guys. This is not political at all, I guess, technically. This is a song I wrote about a crazy family in San Antonio. This friend of mine married a girl from San Antonio, and we were riding around in San Antonio together, and he's a very directionally challenged human being, and I noticed that he wasn't looking at the GPS, and so I asked him why that was, and he said that his first wife was from there. And I thought I knew this guy pretty well, and I didn't know there was like a first wife situation. And he said that he'd fallen in love with this girl when he was 17, and he went to meet her family, kind of like you do when you're dating somebody. And he said he walked into the house and everything that could possibly be red was red. So like the walls were red, the floor was red, the table was red, the dishware, like everything. And the mom had like long crystal hair, Gale hair, but like tied up into a bun. And the dad didn't say anything the whole time they were there. And it like so freaked him out. But being such a nice guy, he decided he would just try to save this girl from this environment that she came from by marrying her. And it didn't work out so great. Some of you are laughing who have experience with these types of relationships. I see you, I understand you. And I thought that was a pretty cool story. So I asked him if I could write a song about it. And he said, sure. I didn't know that we were going to call my record Red Rescue and have me set up at like a table with a red wall and all this stuff. And ever since I put it out, it's funny, people will call me or post on social media and say like, hey, is that my piano teacher's house in Iowa? So I guess there are a lot of really intense red houses. So if you know of any, let me know. I'm easy to find. And I did recently learn that the Red Rescue family has obtained a copy of the record, I guess to like add an additional red item into the house. So I haven't heard much about it other than that, but I know that they have one and that they know that it exists, which is good for me because I was afraid to come back and play in San Antonio for a very long time. But it's funny because since it's come out too, people are like, wow, that could be like a political thing after 2016 or forward. So choose your own experience. There was a darkness in that house. I felt it chill my bones. Saw your mother at the kitchen table, just sitting there, arms crossed. I did a line to make it through the night. I did a line to suppress my appetite. She offered us what she had to eat. Guess she'd been holding on to all of those holiday meats. I smell the milk spoiling from the refrigerator. Pulled a long black hair off my plate. Said, baby, let's get out of here. I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you. Red rescue, red rescue. Oh, I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you. Red rescue, red rescue. The walls were colored all like blood. I never looked, but I swear there must have been a dungeon. I saw your brother there, sleeping on the couch. Don't think he's moved since, don't think he'll ever get it. Oh, I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna Thank you guys so much. So my partner is here straight from the Tennessee Democratic Party live stream earlier today. And I would love to close the night with her song because I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And once again, thank you guys for everything you're doing. It's incredible. I can't wait to come back to another postcard party. I'm going to turn up some headphones and introduce you guys to Mary Gaucher. You're good. You can come in. I'm going to turn up your headphones for you.
You're going to play, right?
Yeah, totally.
Uh,
I'll move them over here. I didn't think that through.
Hey, y'all.
There's some folks over at the Tennessee party too, I guess. Oh. Can you hand me that cape over there? Thanks.
My father sure could use a little mercy now. The fruits of his labor falling right slowly on the ground. His work is almost over. Won't be long, he won't be around. I love my father. He could use some mercy now. And my brother sure could use a little mercy now. He is a stranger to freedom, shackled to his fear and doubt. The pain that he lives in, it's almost more than living will allow. I love my brother. He could use some mercy now. My church and my country, they could use a little mercy now. As they sink into a poison pit, it's gonna take forever to climb out. They carry the weight of the faithful who follow them down. I love my church and country. They could use some mercy now. Every living thing could use a little mercy now. Only the hand of grace can end the race towards another mushroom cloud. There's people in power who'll do anything to keep their crown. I love life, life itself could use some mercy now. all could use a little mercy now. Oh, I know we don't deserve it, but we need it anyhow. We hang in the balance, we dangle between hell and hallowed ground. And every single one of us could use some mercy now. Yeah, every single one of us could use some mercy now. Thanks, Jaimee.
Thanks, Mary Gaucher. Thanks for coming and singing. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Alice and Chris. Chris, I learned so much. Scott, thanks for having me. Jesse, everybody, thank you.
Mary, I have a new name for that song. It's the Empath National Anthem.
Oh, wow. I love that. That's a high honor, Jesse.
It's amazing how no matter how many decades go, that song still resonates no matter what your particulars are for that moment. And that's a testament to a great song. Thank you, Mary Gaucher.
Thank you, Jesse. Good to see you, even if it's only virtual.
Good to see you too. And thank you for stopping by. And Jaimee Harris, thank you for sharing your story and your song with us and your activism. It's really wonderful to have it all woven together and really make a difference by what you get to say when you testify. And thank you both for being here tonight. Tonight has been my first one. I want to say thank you to Scott. I don't know whether he'll magically appear. And to Jess, thank you guys for sharing the screen with me tonight. And thank you guys for bringing your art. Jess?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. This has really just filled my heart and I'm sure the hearts of everyone here and everyone out there watching with just this love and compassion. And I love that Empath National Anthem. I just like, this is who we are right now. This is what we need. This is how we are going to make all of it through. And it's just absolutely beautiful.
And it's wonderful what you do and what this is about. And for all the people who have tuned in through the evening and for all the folks that are writing postcards as we go, thank you for your activism. Thank you for caring enough to try to make a difference, because it takes all of us just one by one to make a difference. And we need to make a difference.
Well, and you know what? I 100% agree with you. And I think I want to point out one thing is that we already are. We're already making that difference. And you never want to, and this is one of my biggest things, is you never want to underestimate the power that one person has. And I just want to highlight for a quick second, because I'm still like living beside myself. You know, we've got all of this great coverage right now, right? So I do have the convention on one TV. There's another Zoom on another TV. This is how we're all being together. And I've got 15 devices going off with text messages. But I want to just add that I found out like maybe 2 hours ago that someone who has actually become a dear friend of mine in the past few months got the privilege of nominating Joe Biden tonight. So if anyone remembers the wonderful Jacqueline from the New York Times elevator who took a selfie with Joe when they were doing the endorsement thing, and her selfie went viral, and she ended up coming on Twitter and somehow found her way to one of our like little DM rooms in one of our volunteer groups. And she and I have been talking, and I got a chance to meet her in person because she's right in Jersey where I am. And she is just the embodiment of love and compassion. And so Jacqueline is, she was the elevator operator that works for the New York Times and in the New York Times building. And so she is really, really incredible. So I just watched her. I can drop something in the chat in a second, but my point is, right, is that you never know. And she was just having an authentic conversation with Joe Biden. And for the first time, I think ever, they said it wasn't a politician that nominated, that gave the official nomination. It was an everyday person. And so that's what I mean when I say the power of what happens when we come together. And all of these things that we never knew were possible become possible. And it's just by stepping outside of our comfort zone and trying it out and seeing. So I'm just like a little bit beside myself. And so I apologize. I'm like, oh my God, I have like the red nose from like crying from just like seeing her give this beautiful endorsement. And then from hearing all of the beautiful music and hearing just the incredible work of Alice and Chris, of what Chris was bringing to the table. And I have to say, Jaimee, I'm so struck by the way that you weave your story and your message and your activism through your music. And, I had mentioned before that I'm an art therapist. And so I worked in a women's trauma unit. And in doing my clinical work, I can totally vouch for what Jaimee was saying about, it's like what things will cover for recovery. And it's like, oh, you can't get too better because then they're not going to pay for it. And so it's just been an interesting journey for me of recognizing the problems within the system. So I left clinical work to go do research. And then when I got to a point in research where I realized, no, it's the system that needs to change, that's what brought me here. And that's when I found Envoys. And I moved from being a public school teacher to a clinician to a researcher, and now to political activism. And now someone I call a friend just nominated the next president of the United States. So we're doing it, guys. We're doing it. We're doing it. So thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you all for joining us and having this community every week. This community is what's so important. And so I don't know if Scott is around, if Scott wants to pop back on at all.
Yeah. I'm around, and I'm so happy to be able to bring people together like you and Jaimee and Jesse, Alice, Chris, all kind of becoming a part of this family. So excited meeting Mary, and Mary, you and I mean, that was a just wonderful way to close the evening. Although I don't dare I ask to get maybe a little encore. Can y'all would y'all consider doing that? Another duet together there, because I don't know. I mean, we're going a little off script here, but we don't have any time restraints, and I'm so excited to meet you, Mary and Jaimee, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Let's do a quick one and go watch the convention.
Yeah.
Yes, because we've got Dr. Jill coming up.
Yeah, we gotta see Dr. Jill for sure.
We'll end the night on this. Usually we linger and we chat. Tonight we're gonna call this the end, and as we're doing this, we're gonna stream a little bit here and there of Sierra's wonderful art. We're so grateful for her.
Thank you, Sierra.
Yes, and Carson had to go do homework, but we just love the multi-generational community we're building together, and we're going to keep that up. And Mary, we want you to come back and tell us about songwriting for soldiers, and we want to do a veterans a whole bit on veterans, and have you back here in a few weeks if we'll nail that down, if that works into your schedule.
Happy to do it. happy to do it. Why don't we play one of those soldier songs?
Right on.
This one is written with military spouses who told us that there's a war after the war, and they feel invisible, and they feel like nobody's aware of what they're going through. And I learned working with soldiers that when someone serves, the whole family serves. And this is written with 6 wives of military spouses. They served in different branches of the military and at different times, but their emotional experience was so much alike, we could write this song. Who's gonna care for the ones who care for the ones who went to war? There's landmines in the living room, eggshells on the floor. Lost myself in the shadow of your honor and your pain. You stare out of the window as our dreams go down the drain. Invisible, the war after the war. I get no basic training, I get no Purple Heart. I'm supposed to carry on, I can't fall apart. People look at you and thank you for the sacrifice you made. They look at me and smile, say I'm lucky, you're okay. Invisible, war after the war. But I'm a soldier too, just like you. Serving something bigger than myself. I serve unseen, caught in between my pain and the pain of someone else. But I'm stronger than you think I am. I'm right here by your side. I am not your enemy, I don't wanna fight. There's no going back in time, I know you're not the same. But you are not the only one for whom the world has changed. Invisible, the war after the war. Invisible, the war after the war. Good night, everybody.
Thank you
y'all.
so much.
Thanks, everybody. We will be looking forward to next week. Next week, we have another big lineup. We are going to have the honor of hosting James McMurtry and his son Curtis. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a fundraiser for Beto's Powered by People, and sell some art, do a raffle selling that art. Thank you so much to Jaimee. Thank you so much to Jess, to Jessica and Jesse. So wonderful working with Jessie and her professionalism and all that she brings to this, and just tying it all together. Jess and her job of tying it together from New Jersey. I think she might have also a career in broadcasting in her future. So I couldn't be happier about the way tonight went. And I can't wait to reconnect with Jaimee and Mary here in a few weeks. And thank you so much to Alice and Chris. I loved what you guys brought, and take care of that menagerie there in Austin, and keep up the good work. And I can't wait to get you guys back on as well. We're going to try to do a festival type of thing as we go down the home stretch and bring everybody who's done this back. And this all kind of launched with Kevin Russell helping us to connect with so many of these wonderful Austin artists. And of course, Alice and Kelly McWee are a part of Shiny Ribs. They are the Shiny Soul Sisters. And it's just beyond my wildest dreams that this would all come together. So thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, everybody.
Adios, amigos.